from the station that's on your side. This is News 12, NBC 26 at 11.
Good evening. It is election night in Georgia. We're on your side right now, tracking the live results as they continue to trickle in from polls all across the Peach State.
And we have several big races we're following on the local, state, and federal levels tonight. A lot of close races, and we have live team coverage for you from Augusta all the way to Atlanta.
Now, former U.S. Senator David Perdue conceding this race around 8:30 this evening, just about an hour and a half after the polls close. And the numbers are really overwhelming if you check out the results here. He told his supporters he's throwing his full support behind Governor Brian Kemp. And you can see the governor here with 73% of the vote, 22% for former Senator Perdue. I don't know if anybody saw that coming. The polls were in Governor Kemp's favor, but this is really a blowout race on the Republican side.
I want to take a look at how our local voters voted in this governor's race. Taking a look at Richmond County's breakdown tonight. Brian Kemp, 75% of our local Richmond County vote, 21% for David Perdue. So that is pretty similar to what we saw statewide. Taking a look here, this is Columbia County's breakdown, 71% for Brian Kemp, 24%. So really following those state lines that we saw kind of all across the state. And then we want to take you here, if we can really quickly, to Burke County to see another one of our big counties, a big Republican stronghold there as well. Again, 72% for Kemp, 24% for David Perdue. So across our area, kind of mirroring that state vote, which is really interesting since so many people thought it was going to be a tighter race.
Okay, Laura, let's talk about another big race, the race for U.S. Senate in Georgia, the Republican primary for U.S. Senate. And tonight, it was all about the candidate with the name recognition. As you see down there, Herschel Walker coming out on top of a crowded field of Republicans with Gary Black, Josh Clark, Kelvin King, Jonathan McCollum, Latham Sadler, and it's Herschel Walker with it being the top vote getter there. 69.4% of the vote. That is a strong showing for a candidate that President Trump actually backed in this race. So that's going to be a victory in the Trump column tonight and for a lot of Georgia Bulldog fans. But Raphael Warnock also doing really well tonight in his bid to keep that Senate seat, 96% of the vote. He did have a challenger, and it'll be interesting to see how Warnock and Herschel Walker go down the road toward November with any debates that might happen between the two because of the various strengths of each candidate. That's a race to be watched, and the whole nation will be watching.
I want to show you the results from some of our other big local races. Commission District 2, that one heading to a runoff. Stacey Pulliam taking a strong lead for most of the evening. She came out strong and she stayed strong, 45% of the vote, but not 50% plus one vote. So she will have to head to a runoff with Vaughn Pouncey, who was able to manage 14.3% of the vote. Also want to take you to Commission District 4, where Alvin Mason, who stepped into the role of commissioner, he was appointed after Sammy Sias was taken out of that role by the state. He is going to be the next commissioner outright. He won over Betty Reese. And we have District 6 here. We have Tony Lewis able to get 50% of the vote. So he will take over for the District 6 commission seat.
Continuing in the commission now, the 8th district has Brandon Garrett running unopposed, so the incumbent stays in that district. But let's talk about the 10th super district. And this is another close one here. John Clark, we have the gold check there, but he's at 49% of the vote. So we're not quite sure if there should be a runoff with Robert Cook. So that could happen as we watch those results. It's going to come down to every single vote because he's very close to that 50% runoff. And so we're going to have to, I'm sorry, with Wayne Guilfoyle at 31%. I was looking at the wrong number. So John Clark and Wayne Guilfoyle there, 49%, 31%, a race to keep our eye on right there. In Columbia,
it will be another rematch. We've got a runoff for Augusta's mayor's race. Stephen Kendrick getting 40% of the vote tonight. Garnett Johnson, local businessman, getting 37.4%. So in late June, the two of these will face off. But we were watching a lot of interesting races tonight, Richard.
Yes, we are. In fact, let's look at the race for governor here. In case you missed it earlier, these are big numbers for Brian Kemp as he defeats Republican challenger David Perdue. Perdue already pledging his support to Brian Kemp there, but 73% of the vote was really even bigger than I think a lot of the polls suggested it might be. So they're going to now head towards defeating Stacey Abrams for a second time in the November election. We'll see if the Governor Kemp can pull that off.
U.S. Senate race, another big one. We were expecting it to be kind of a runaway for Herschel Walker, and he delivered on that promise. Huge name for Georgia, a celebrity in his own right in this state, and he took 69.4% of the vote. The next person closest, Gary Black, the sitting commissioner for agriculture in the state. But the Democratic race, if I can click back out here, was a runaway. I mean, the sitting Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock, 96.1% of that vote. The only challenger he had, Tamara Johnson-Shealy, only able to get about 3% of the vote. So we will see how this pans out in November.
Also tracking the race for Augusta Commission, we have several districts to show you. Starting in District 2, we can pull that one up and show you. This one looks like it's heading for a runoff here between Stacey Pulliam and Vaughn Pouncey there, and that's in District 2. Switching over to District 4, we have another one to show you. Alvin Mason, the incumbent commissioner appointed to that seat, is going to keep that seat with a 56% of the vote there. In District 6, we're going to pull that one out here and show you that Tony Lewis is the top vote getter there with 51% of the vote. District 8 is only one commissioner running. He was the incumbent. Brandon Garrett will keep his seat there. And the Super District 10, that's one more we can show you. There's the runoff between John Clark and Wayne Guilfoyle. 49% for Clark, 31% for Guilfoyle. So another runoff there in another crowded race where runoffs seem to be the key to this event. And that's going to be in 4 weeks from now, the last Tuesday of June.
Luckily for our metro area today, weather was